This time I take a winter ride out to Mosesly Old Hall. Okay, heater grips are on, and it's our first winter ride out of the season, and it is cold, properly cold. You can't see it here at the moment, but there is a lot of frost around. We're riding out to Mosesly Old Hall, that's near Wolverhampton. It's a National Trust site, and it's one of those places that's actually got an interesting history, but is actually also much older than it looks. From the outside, it looks like a brick building, you know, maybe Victorian, something like that. But it isn't, that's just a skin. The original house, or the house itself, is actually much, much older than that. More Elizabethan period, and it did play a role because the king hid there during the English Civil War. And the house inside also has priest holes. So we tell that it dates back to the reign of Queen Elizabeth at the very least. However, when the house became very dilapidated, the original wattle and door was basically skinned on the outside with brick, which makes the house look quite modern, relatively speaking. But it really isn't, it's a very old house indeed, with a lot of history to it. Originally it would have had a lot more land than it's got now, obviously. But a lot of that's gone now. But you've still got some land there, and some of the ornate gardens remain too. So it's a very nice place to visit. We'll take a walk around, have a look on the inside. The interior has been essentially styled to look like a ye olde British Christmas time, really. So no big Christmas trees. It's much more traditional, much more old world than that. It's Christmas as it would have been in the pre-Victorian era, if you like. So a very different feel. When you're in the house itself, particularly going some areas, you can see that it's quite an old house. And some areas really do give away. You can see part of the old frames, here the loft areas and the roof areas. But yeah, this is a very old house indeed, but it doesn't look as old as it actually is. So let's get there and let's see how we go, shall we? I'm not looking forward to the motorway, it's going to be cold. Unusually today, Deb and Tom have travelled in the car. This is simply because Deb's taking her mum along who really doesn't like travelling on the back of a bike. All that being said, however, when we got there we found that Wolverhampton the temperatures were somewhat lower than they had been in Shropshire. Maybe it was a smart move. The frost, however, was very pretty.
It's just real pretty. Look at that frost. Big job.
So after a couple of minutes wandering around the front of the house, we went inside. Situated in Staffordshire, just outside of Wolverhampton, the hall was constructed around 1600 by one Henry Pitt. There was a priest hall originally that would have been completely invisible, and then the priests were hidden in there because it was a Catholic family that owned the house. But during the purges, obviously, they would hide in here, away from the Puritans who would drag them off and arrest them, and arrest the family as well if they were caught. Unfortunately, Henry died shortly after completion, and the house passed to his daughter Alice, who would later marry one Thomas Whitgrave, whose family lived nearby. The house would famously play a part in the English Civil War, when Charles I would hide there shortly after the Battle of Worcester in 1651. Arriving disguised in workman's clothes, he was welcomed by Thomas Whitgrave, who would use the house's priest hole to hide the king from the parliamentarians. So that's the secret door to said priest hole. It opens up. That's cool. Yeah, and that's where the priest would have gone down into. There's another door there. And then down to that priest hole we looked at before. What's cold weather? Going to Lady Whitehead. God's wave the mind against a bet more Catholics. Remember? Much of the house is still decorated pretty much as period. It's not surprising it's rather dark inside. There have been a lot of wood panelling. And the house remained the main family residence right up until the 1820s when the family moved to Moseley Court, a Regency-style house built by George Whitgreave. In the 1870s, many changes were made to the house. The outer part of the building was given a brick skin to make it look more modern, and a corridor was added to the first floor. But the house would remain the property of the Whitgreave family until sold in 1925, and it was then used as a farmhouse until 1940. I see the original construction there, look, see the wattle door. So they would put slats of wood in and then fill it with daub.
What was daub?
There's a mixture of things, including dung, to be honest. The later industrial beams are perfectly flat, whereas those are obviously just hacked from a tree. Like you can see, you can still make out the shape of the tree, can't you? Oh, so used in the loft to have a Catholic mass, weren't they? Time to head downstairs now and have a look around. The downstairs is all set up like a traditional Christmas, because this was filmed in December, from around the 1600s. So there's no Christmas trees or anything like that, but there is a nice warm fire, which reminds me we're going to have to ride back at some point. In the past, in the wintertime, people would bring in evergreen branches to brighten up their homes and make them think more about summer. This later evolved into the Christmas trees and the various decorations that we have today. But in the past it was all a bit more organic. Our plastic bauble inside. I feel like I'm delaying the inevitable. I'm just going to have to go outside a minute. The land around Moseley Old Hall is quite small. There's a nice ornate garden immediately around the building and then some more open ground beyond. In winter, it's especially beautiful. What are you doing in that tree house? You're not 12 years old. What are you doing? Get down there. Bloody child. Come on. Hope you enjoyed that. Let us know if there's any places you think they'd be worth a visit. Drop us a line below. Hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, thank you very much for watching.